Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paddington Prowler, chapter of Paddington Prowler. Whatever it is I usually say, that's what I said. Believe me. My name's Eric Taylor. I'm very quiet. Now I'm peeking out really hard. Good job, gain on my interface. I'll figure it out one of these days. Over there in the storybook, I have people over there. And my camera's backwards now. I have no idea what's happening. But over there in the storybook, there's some people who hopefully they sound fine. We'll see. Shani, how do you sound?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Maybe you sound fine?
I sound like I exist, and that's really nice.
That is definitely a positive over most weeks in recent memory. Katie, how are you?
I'm great. I am super excited to be here.
Good. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good. And also very excited for tonight.
Good also. And Sam.
I'm doing good as well, and also very excited to have this long-coming debrief revelation. I don't know.
We'll call it a
Words will need to be had.
Steam engine side chat.
Yeah.
So, last week, more deals with hags were made. Shooting happened. Specifically, sister shooting sister. It was sad. Curses were placed upon people. Legs were broken. And you left, Karen Klava, to make your way to who knows where. You haven't decided. Right now, you're just flying away, which really bothers Ishmael. For those of you who follow us on Twitter, which you should, thank you so much. Crap. One of these days, I'll get used to our new format, so I'm going to do that quick business thing at the start really fast in the middle of not the start. So this is a Do Respite thing. We do lots of things here on Do Respite. Currently, Storyteller Studio is on hiatus, which is why you're getting 3 hours of Paddington Prowler. The cast is very excited about this. As you can see, there's much wiggling. On Wednesdays, we play Eternium Gate, which is a Savage Worlds dark fantasy game, also run by me. And it features Chantel and Frito and Sarah and Jamie Collette. And it's a good, fun time right now. Poop was thrown last week, so that was the thing. And on Saturdays, we just finished Somerset City. It was emotional. Go watch it. It's really, really, really good. And I say that as someone who created it, but you don't have to take my word for it. 3 of the 5 people playing in it were here, and they'll tell you it's good too. So you should go watch it. The entire show is now on YouTube. In addition, starting on Saturday in the morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, we're now the official home of Unlawful Disorder. And they're playing Open Legend rather than D&D 5e. They have made a transition over to the Open Legend system. And it's still being run by Michelle Valancourt. And it's the same 4 great players that you know and enjoy, playing the same characters you know and enjoy, just using a different system. And they will be here every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So come and watch them. We'd really like it if you do. Also, last plug, and then we'll play. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/DoRespite. My link posting bot isn't working, so who knows. But you can find us there. This is my job, and we would like to turn it into a podcast, and we'd like to expand and do some things. But in order to do that, we need to start bringing some revenue in, and Patreon is the best way you can support us. So if you want to check that out, it would be amazing. Thanks so much. So, if you follow us on Twitter, you know that I posted today on the twitter.com/durespet that we would be doing a kind of interesting GMing stream game experiment, because I like to do those. We've done it with Sarah a few times on both Eternium Gate and on Somerset City. We're going to try another one here tonight, which is I'm going to set a stage, and we're going to see how long these players can carry their game without GM interference. And I think we can go most of the session with maybe minor GM clarification on things when asked directly. So, you are all aboard the Helios, flying off into the early morning sky. And Amelia, you are in the infirmary, as is Wayland. And you do have a visitor, if you recall. A tapping foot and the smell of the sea. Which also means I had forgotten I need Nora and Constance to take their headphones off. We'll do that after I do this scene that I forgot I had to do until I looked down at my notes and saw I had to do this scene. So, there's that smell of the sea and the tapping of a boot.
Taza.
Lowland.
Not my name anymore.
It'll always be your name to me.
Well,
It's the name that's written in the stars.
and then it was stripped from me.
Yes, but even Father doesn't have the power to strip it from the stars.
No, I know that. He has the power to strip it from me.
True. But his time is at an end.
Yes.
That's why I'm here, Voland. Father's dead.
How did he die?
In his sleep. He'd been sick for a long time.
Anything suspicious about it?
Not that I'm aware.
Interesting.
I mean, after nearly a decade of being sick, and after
Yeah.
almost a year of being bedridden.
Still, a lot seems to have changed since I was last home.
The world marches on.
Well, thank you for telling me.
And she kind of steps forward and she reaches out as though to touch your face. But you can see just that slight shimmer. That shimmer of that barrier put in place by your exile. And just roughly half an inch between the two of you. Her fingers stall from your cheek. And you can see her eyes are filled with tears.
Tell me, did you know?
Did I know what?
Did you know about Teral? Did you know about Mother?
What are you talking about?
Oh. Spy Master, I think you need to look a little closer to home. I recently learned some some very interesting things
What did you
about.
learn, Roland?
I learned that my exile was no accident. I learned that it was planned, it was arranged by Tyrell. And I learned that he did it because Mother asked him to. And I want to know, did you know?
No. I didn't.
So, what we have is a situation where Father gets ill, and then instead of taking over, Tiana steps aside. Something I would never have expected her to do. Now, of course, had I been there, well, I certainly wouldn't have stepped aside. But I'm not there, am I? So Tyrell gets to take over now. And now Father's dead. So he gets to move from being the Prince Regent to being the King. So tell me, Spy Master, how should I feel about that?
And she kind of leans back against the Helios, accidentally and casually bumping into Amelia's foot as she does.
Damn it.
And she looks down at the girl. I'm sure those will clear up nicely.
What are you talking about?
And she reaches into, and Taza is wearing a long, almost duster kind of jacket. She's in a corset, and she's in leather leggings, and she has very high riding boots, but she's also wearing a strange duster jacket. And she reaches in and she pulls out a small hand mirror and hands it to Amelia. Like I said, I'm sure they'll clear up nicely. And she waves her hand, and as Amelia lets out the scream that would be requisite at this discovery, there is no sound, dampened by whatever spell Taza casts. And she turns and looks at Wayland. I didn't know. Things have been moving very quickly in court, but they often do when a regime change is coming. But I didn't know. And she, from that duster, removes a blade. It is a dagger that she's carried since you were children. Its hilt and its pommel are carved in the shape of those melancholy thistles, and its blade is a jet obsidian black. And she tosses it down onto one of the infirmary beds next to you. You have my blade. If what you say is true, then you are my king. And she kneels on one knee in front of Wayland.
He kneels down as well, and he sort of reaches out and he also hits that barrier.
Yep.
He's like, you know that's not how it works.
No. But if we can prove that this is really Tyrell's fault,
I know.
And she stands up and she picks up the blade. Then I know what my first assignment is.
Be safe, Taza.
You too, Voland. And with that, she sheaths the blade and she steps toward the wall, and you get hit with that same briny sea spray smell. And for a moment, it appears as though the wall of the ship is made from seawater. And then she's gone. And it's at that point that her spell fades and Amelia is still screaming, and we will pull the sisters in around that scream. The pair of you, who I believe are on the bridge having a somewhat heart-to-heart about the existence of Wyatt, are pulled from that somewhat pleasant revelry by the shrieking scream of your sister Amelia. Blood-curdling, window-shattering, the scream of 1,000 deaths.
Running to it.
Running a step behind Constance.
Okay. Amelia is there. Wayland is kneeling on the floor, I imagine, with tears in his eyes. Still kind of staring at a spot on the wall. And I am 100% willing to throw a GM Benny to make that a thing. Meanwhile, Amelia is staring at a hand mirror and shrieking like a banshee.
My face! What? That's stupid. And then she continues screaming incoherently and lots of swearing.
I thought you were dying, not looking in a mirror.
Look what she did.
I can see what she did. Is screaming going to help you right now? At that face, Constance takes a step back towards the door because I'm sure there's still a gun somewhere in this room.
Oh yeah, the mirror is in one hand, the gun is in the other.
Slightly.
Oh, yes. Backing up.
It's exactly that.
It's probably not permanent. They usually aren't. They'll go away in a few weeks.
A few weeks.
I could make you a salve and see if it might help it go away a little faster. Wayland, why did you give her a mirror?
Oh, I didn't do it. My sister did.
We were on an airship.
Yes,
That means we're in the air.
that would be the implication, yes.
Do Alpha fly?
Sometimes. We are generally quite magical, inherently.
Oh.
Tarzar in particular was quite skilled. Well,
So your sister came all the way here to give her a mirror.
Is this the same sister
No.
that left a flower on Constance?
Yes.
I don't think
My
I like
sister.
this sister of yours.
She came all the way here to tell me that my father had died.
I'm
Apparently
sorry.
from sickness, but I'm starting to think that that's not true. I'm starting to suspect there's something else going on and that I have been played the fool for over 100 years.
How so?
I have believed this entire time that no matter what, my exile was the correct choice. I had done the right thing. And I have now discovered that's not true. I was manipulated into making that choice. They knew I would make that choice. And for whatever reason, my family, well, parts of my family, wanted me out of the way. And this is how they did it, by stripping me of everything I had and making me think it was my choice.
Wayland, why were you exiled?
I think we are going to have a bit of a conversation about a whole range of things. So perhaps we go somewhere a little bit more, well, conducive to that. Find a pair of crutches for Amelia.
Are you going to put the gun away? Or are you going to keep it out all the time?
I'll put it away. And she does so very begrudgingly.
Here's a crutch. I found one in the cabinet over there. I can fix this later in a little bit, but not right at the moment. I have to make the potion stronger.
Cabinet's also really strangely wet, by the way.
I think we might have sprung a leak or something. It's all wet over there.
It's a ship for the air.
Mhm.
How do you spring a leak?
That would be Taza as well. She
Sprung a leak?
She gets my ship all wet? I really am not liking this sister of yours. I'm sorry about your father, but I really don't like this sister.
She, for whatever reason, has taken a liking when her magic has a very seaside theme. A lot of salt water and whatnot.
Salt water.
Yeah.
Everything I've eaten or smelled, really, on board this ship has smelled of salt water or tasted of salt water. Why?
Now, speaking of clarifications, does that sound like Taza?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As in, that's something that's like a side effect or something?
It's a
that she
side
would ban?
effect, yeah. It's a side effect of essentially Constance having been the incubator for her message for.
Right.
It's not permanent.
Yeah.
So she leaves puddles wherever she goes?
It's mostly, it's
Yeah.
more like a mist. It's like someone like misted over the front of your cabinet.
When she left, the effect is essentially as if she was stepping into water, despite it being a wall, and so it leaves a bit of a sheen. And Connie, I'm sorry, but I think that's a side effect of her magic as well. It won't be permanent. But it is a thing, yes.
Why did she call me your majesty?
Oh, remember how I
Highness.
said we're going
Highness. Sorry, your highness.
we are going to need to have a conversation on a range of things, like I said.
Well, then let's
move
leave
somewhere
this
less
very.
quiet. More
Let's-
quiet. Quieter.
The bridge?
Okay, let's go.
Okay, you make your way to the bridge, and Ishmael tells you to go to the mess hall because you'll distract him with your probably arguing. He looks very intently at Amelia and Constance when he says that.
You can get distracted?
Yes, Miss Nora. Also, where am I flying?
Well, you said that the castle is on the way to Transylvania, so we're headed possibly to the castle or there. Wayland, how do you get in touch with your order to find out what's going on?
Nora.
We should head to where the last known location for Nathaniel and Johann.
Hattie Marie said that we should head for Transylvania in her letter.
You've received a letter from Hattie Marie.
Yes, I told Nora and Wayland you were asleep.
I see.
Okay, so we're going to Transylvania, Ishmael. I was just thinking maybe the order had sent somebody and they might have more details. Communication is very important in these kind of situations.
Yes, it is.
But we'll go ahead and discuss this more in the mess hall. I can make some snacks.
All right, then.
You proceed to the mess hall. Nora makes snacks that all taste like seawater if you're Constance.
And it's fine. It's time for me to have some vegetables anyway, I'm sure.
All right, Drama Squad 1. Go.
A range of conversations then. What?
I thought my family was complicated, but your family is really giving them a run for their money, I guess. It's not just Constance. Nora, Amelia. What I'm about to tell you is quite dangerous. I realized when we last did this kind of conversation, Nora, you in particular talked about liking to know the dangerous information so that you might prepare. The problem with this knowing the information is what puts you in danger. But too many people know now. Babette knows. Can't keep a secret like that. So the danger is already there. You need to know. I got another point of clarification. Has it only been like 24 hours since I had that conversation with Hattie Marie? Like maybe 36?
36, 48-ish, yeah.
Oh, God.
You're only in like the 4th day of chronological gameplay.
Oh, it's been a rough couple of days.
It's definitely one of my lacking points as a GM is giving you breaks of time where nothing happens. I'm bad at it.
Oh, there's a lot that needs to be broken down, but I mentioned that it would be important to differentiate between an elf and an alpha. So I am an alpha. The elves, well, they've had many names, but elves, what they call themselves now. But they've been the fair folk, the Aishi, the Seelie and Unseelie, the Fae. But they're elves, is what they now refer to themselves as, and they divide themselves between the summer court and the winter court. But the summer court, well, waged war on the winter court, decided it should rule over all, and they won. The king of the summer court is now king of all the elves. But there was a rumor that some of the royal family of the winter court got free. No one ever proved it. No one ever really believed it. And if they could prove it, well, the king of the winter court is not the kind of person to let someone like that live, let that kind of threat exist to his power. Your mother was the daughter of the king and queen of the winter court. You are heirs to the winter court throne.
Mother was an elf?
Apparently, yes.
Was she blue like you?
No. Alpha. Specifically, Svart Alpha at that point, but it's not a huge... No.
So elves aren't blue.
No.
Are they a different color? Like
They look
orange, or purple?
Are they pimply?
I don't expect your mother needed much of a glamour.
Some would say she was rather glamorous all by herself.
I thought the GM was sitting out this one, and I didn't realize they were going to get catcalled.
Did father know?
I would assume so, because that's the next piece of fun news. See, When I joined the order, I was told that this particular version for the order as a concept has existed for, well, as long as anyone can remember, but it rises, it falls, different versions come up. But this version, the Vigile Arterum, was founded, I was told, by two men, Johann van Helsing and Dr. Jack. But again, there is talk, there is rumors that there was a third person involved in the founding, this mysterious figure. No one knows who, or at least I didn't know who. Until Hattie Marie told me it was in fact Alistair Marley, was the third founder of the Vigile Arterum. So I would suspect your father did know. I am guessing at this point, but I would suspect that the order had something to do with getting your mother out of the court. That is potentially how they met. Like I said, that part is just me guessing. But it goes in some way to explain why, Amelia, you are begorvered, gifted. Though, and again, you might remember when I mentioned that I had never met anyone gifted, that Ishmael pointed out that I, in fact, knew 3 people. Well, that would be you, Amelia. That would be you, Nora. And that would be your brother, Dorian. I'm told Dorian is essentially like both of you combined.
What about Nathaniel?
I guess he doesn't have, or didn't inherit any special. He wasn't included in the list of people who were gifted in that way.
Nora, what is your gift?
I have no idea. It mentioned it in that contract I signed. I fully intend to find out sometime, but I've had a lot of other things I needed to do. I don't think I can read minds like you, though. I don't hear voices.
What did your contract say?
Protecting people, using my gifts. They really should give you a paper copy. It did mention using my gifts, though.
So I'm a goblin, and you're an elf.
Half of an elf?
Half of an elf.
Wayland Father's human, right? Or is he something else?
Well, as far as I'm aware, he's human. Babette mentioned that she pointed out that the order is generally run by Odaveldians, not by humans. And this is the first time it has been run just by humans, which would suggest to me that your father is human.
So, half elf, and you're a goblin princess and a wolf.
We're a very strange family.
We go together very well. See, I knew we did.
Wayland.
Waylon's sort of like, you can see him, he's just sort of like he's trying to do sums in his head. And his eyes kind of go a little bit wide. And he's just like, oh.
What?
Oh.
What?
So again, I don't have a lot of information about this. I have just things that I've been told yesterday. But it occurs to me when you ask about Wayland, ask about Nathaniel. Nathaniel is, he's 25.
Yes.
The Winter Court fell 24 years ago. Yeah, that's my thought as well.
This family's very complex.
Like I said, I thought I had a bizarre family. But
He could still be a half brother if father was married before, and then his wife died. But really, it doesn't matter because he was raised with us, so he's still our brother.
What is he?
I don't think it changes the relationship, no. But, well, your family is somewhat convoluted, yes.
Is your family less convoluted than this? Or more?
Well, apparently it's a little straightforward. They just didn't want me around. Well, some of them. I told you I was exiled. There is an artifact. It is known as the Star of the Alpha. And it is traditionally passed between the three groups that make up the Alpha. The Ajol Safar, the Dark Alpha, and the Svat Alpha. And they hold it for a time. And it's their responsibility during that time to look after it, to guard it, to keep it safe. It's a great honor. And over 100 years ago, it came to us. And my brother, Tiral, begged father to be the one in charge of guarding it, to have that honor. I had already done it once past. He felt it was his turn. And I agreed. I felt he was up to the task, but father did not. Gave it to me. But Teral wanted to prove father wrong, and I wanted to help Teral. I let him guard it. And there was an attack. Toral was injured. Severely injured. And the star of the Alpha was taken. We did not find out by who. Toral was going to be punished severely, but I took the blame. It had been my choice, my responsibility, and I let him. I took the fall. And so I was exiled. And when an Alpha is exiled, you are stripped of everything, including your name. Alpha are quite magical. Your name, it's who you are. True name links you to everything else. And through that link, magic is possible. In the exile, that link is severed. When I say my name was taken from me, I can't even say it, even if I wanted to. And for 100 years, I took solace in the fact that I had made the correct choice. It was my mistake, my shame, not Toral's. And then I made a deal with Babette. And instead of taking more from me, she decided to give me more. I would receive more than I had asked because she knew that it would tear at me. And what she told me, what she revealed to me, was that it had all been part of a plan on Tyrell's part. That had been the goal. He never wanted to guard the star. He wanted to get me exiled. And not only did my brother want me to be exiled, but he was doing it at the express request of my mother. And what I have since learned is that 10 years ago, when my father first fell ill, he stepped down from his role as king. And by right, it would then fall to my mother, who at the time was distraught and also stood down. So it should then go to my elder sister, Tiana. She had always been the heir. For as long as I had known, she has been preparing to take over the throne, to step up to that position. And then when the time came, she declined. And so it goes to the next person, which would have normally been me, but I was exiled. I have no claim. So it goes to Tyrell. And now I've discovered that father is dead. Tyrell will become king and not simply Prince Regent. That's my family drama. I can take somewhat solace that as far as I can tell, at the very least, my younger sister was not involved, was not aware. And she's now looking, well, she's going to look into it further.
I'm sorry, Wayland. Your
So am I.
family does sound a lot more complicated than ours, though. We just come from different places. That just sounds mean.
That's a good point.
Wayland, do elves, like Mother, get sick in the same way that humans do?
They can. There are still diseases.
Give me a general knowledge roll, Waylon.
Okay. Seven.
It had not occurred to you before. She should not have been able to die from what she died from, based on what you now know of her lineage.
Cool. There are diseases and sicknesses that can afflict elves. What your mother had is not one of them.
Elves don't
You-
die of cholera?
Elves don't get cholera.
But that's what they told us she died from.
I'm aware.
You met Mother.
Yeah.
She died about a year after Waylon got there.
We celebrated her 30th anniversary with Father. Her 30th anniversary with Father.
Yep.
Nathaniel's 25, and the Winter Court fell 24 years ago.
Like I said, my speculation of how they met is speculation. They could have easily have known each other before the Winter Court fell. I don't know. I'm not privy to that.
Where's Father now?
We heard the message we got, Eric, was that he hadn't been seen for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but that wasn't entirely uncommon.
Yep. The last report that the sisters had, the two who live at home, is that Alistair was in New York.
Oh, God.
And that was how long ago?
He left 6 months ago.
He was in New York.
That's what he said.
Last I heard, he hadn't been seen for a little while, which is not entirely uncommon for your father, but given the circumstances, I thought it merited some investigation, and I sent requests that someone try and check. But I didn't realize he was in New York. And not the last time Tarza visited with the flower, not this one. Terrell was organizing something in New York, and I was to be invited to the opening of some hotel in 6 weeks in New York. Now, that was before either of us knew what he had done.
What do you mean, what he'd done?
That he'd orchestrated my exile. Terral.
Ah.
I mean, not your father.
Yes.
But I don't like that. I don't like coincidence. The fact that they were both in New York does not sit well.
If that's where he is.
If that's where he is, yes.
We thought Nathaniel was in New York until 24 hours ago.
Because he also went with your dad. They went on a business trip together when they left. 6 months ago.
No. Does Father know Nathaniel's part of the Order? Does everyone in the Order know everyone in the Order?
Most in the Order don't know your father is even remotely connected. I didn't know he was connected. Most of the Order doesn't even know there's 3 founders. Babette said that there was some falling out between the Dr. Jack did something that Johann and your father disagreed with. I have no idea what, but it meant that it led to Dr. Jack leaving. Babette then said that Van Helsing took one course of action and your father took a different course of action. And she pondered which one was the more foolish, but she did not elaborate.
So everyone in the Marley household is royalty in some way, shape, or form.
Potentially, yes.
How long ago was the modern Vigilantum? How long ago was that founded?
Eric?
The most recent incarnation of Vigilia Turnum has been in existence for 42 years.
Question to Eric.
Mm-hmm.
How old do we know our
Your
father
father
to
is
be?
51. No, sorry. 32 years, 51. I did the math wrong in my head.
None of this changes anything. We're still going to save Nathaniel, right?
Oh, yes, that's at the top of the list.
We need to hurry. The longer he is held by Pietro, we need to hurry.
It sounds as though he, Van Helsing, and Father are all together. Perhaps.
Potentially.
What was that name you said?
Pietro.
Who is that?
He is the vampire who attacked the train, who is, best case scenario, keeping Nathaniel and Van Helsing and potentially your father prisoner. We hope.
Do you know much about him?
Pietro was the vampire I was hunting when Nathaniel discovered about that I was in the Order.
You said that vampires choose very carefully who they turn.
Yes.
And that when you're a vampire, you become the worst version of yourself.
Yes. It
So-
destroys all that is good in you. We become the monster. You become someone else.
Why would he wait?
Pietro is a bit like Babette. Why do anything when he could do it in a way that hurts others more? As I said, best case scenario, he's keeping them prisoner. He may have just killed them. He may have tried to turn them into vampires. All of which he could have already done. We won't know until we get there.
You did say, though, that other members of the Order would be sent after them. Either you or Hattie Marie. Maybe they've already been rescued.
You're right. That is the best case scenario. It is entirely possible.
Raylan? Why was your sister Tiana digging around in a forest for a key?
I have no idea.
What key?
I don't know what key. I don't know why she would use
Undead instead of a shovel. I don't know why anyone would
Traganga.
use them.
I don't know.
Now that you know she was involved in this plot, maybe this key is important.
I don't know if she was involved in the plot.
Now that we suspect she may have been involved.
If she's involved, and then I don't know why. I don't know what she gains from stepping down. I don't know where her benefit to this plan is.
Maybe they forced her to somehow.
That is what I hope. Because you're right. It's an entirely like potential. She has been involved from the beginning. I hope that she is a victim of the plan, like me, and not a conspirator. I won't know until I talk to her. And we don't have time to go talk to her right now.
How does your sister... Why was your sister concerned about me? How would she know?
I mean, Taza, my younger sister, currently is the spy master for the Svartalfar. Being informed is, well, that's her job. And if she found out information that was connected to me and by or people around me, she could have shared it with the rest of them. Having said that, for all I know, they have a better understanding of this creature that bit you. Anything's possible at this point. I mean, I wouldn't have believed that they would have conspired against me. What's one more thing? So I don't know how they know, other than that they did.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to get Nathaniel back. I'm going to get Johan back if I'm able. I'm going to get your father back if he's there. And if that's not possible, I'm going to do something to Pietro that will make all vampires. I will make myself the thing that vampires fear, and I will use Pietro as an example.
Wayland, do you know anything about Dr. Jack?
Most of what we know about Dr. Jack is that he was one of the founders, and then he went away. I wasn't even aware that there was a problem, that there was some kind of falling out. Just that he would, well, that he was gone. I don't know what he did.
I would very much like to talk to him. Ishmael is quite amazing.
Oh, yes. Yes, he is.
He doesn't behave like other automatons.
I wouldn't expect him to.
Why?
That's not for me. That's something you're going to need to talk to Ishmael about.
He can be quite cagey. Also not an automaton thing. Did you know he has a heart core?
I did, yes.
I would very much like to look at it, but I'm afraid if I pull him apart, not knowing exactly how he works, I might break him.
He very much likes you. He would probably let you do it.
But there's only him and his sister left. I would rather not break them trying to figure out how they work. I'd rather just find this Dr. Jack and talk to him.
Wayland. Nora said something earlier that I need to ask. What exactly are goblins? What do they look like?
Well, that depends. Regular goblins, generally, it's quite small, yellowish, brownish skin, sharp teeth, big eyes. They're actually quite numerous in London. Probably in terms of population of non-humans, probably the next higher. Goblins probably make up the largest. But royal line goblins, well, they look quite different. I mean, you saw the image of Grumgully. That's what they look like. That wasn't a glamour, that's just what he looks like.
So I don't have a glamour on me somewhere.
I wouldn't suspect so, no.
Visibly relieved. Wait, you said that there are lots of goblins in London.
I don't know about lots, but
Do
in
goblins
terms of just,
know other goblins
I would imagine so.
when they see them?
Oh, well, most of them would be glamored. It's difficult.
Correction. Roll a general knowledge real quick, Sam. Add a +2 here.
Can I make it an occult?
Sure.
All right. Because it's slightly better. With a +2, it's 7.
Goblin commoners are immune to glamour.
Well, good golly.
Grumgully.
Regular goblins can't be glamored. It doesn't work, doesn't stick, as it were. They keep out of sight for the most part. And keep together for safety.
They racially have the ability to essentially turn invisible unless you're looking directly for them.
And that. They're good at hiding. They can
So now
obfuscate themselves. Essentially.
So now that I know that I'm looking for goblins, in general, or do I have to know exactly who I'm looking for?
That one.
That one.
You might notice that you might start thinking you see something out of the corner of your eye a little bit more often, though.
Yep.
It's actually a little bit frustrating walking down the street. You get used to it, but...
Or horrifying, depending on who you are.
Like being followed by a prowler.
It really sucks if a goblin starts following you and you don't know a goblin's following you, because there's just always that sort of hint of goblininess in the corner of your eye that you can't quite place. It's real rough.
You ever felt like you're being watched but couldn't see anyone?
You probably were being watched by a goblin.
Are goblins, common goblins, Are they magical?
I mean, they can essentially turn themselves invisible, so yes.
So they probably give off some kind of magical aura or essence. I'm going to add making a detector to my list.
You can do that?
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. I'm pretty sure I can. Eventually.
Wayland, who else knows about Nora, Dorian, and I?
Hattie Marie, Ishmael. I would assume Soraya. If Ishmael knows, Soraya might as well. Beyond that, I don't know. Well, Babette knows, at least about you and Nora. She might not know about Dorian, but it wouldn't be hard for her to find out. That's already too many people.
And
How
if
would they find out?
How would who find out?
All of them. How would they find out?
I don't know how. Ishmael was clearly close to Dr. Jack and potentially the other founders. So potentially Ishmael was close to your father. So maybe he knows that way. Hattie Marie is... Well, if the Order has anything resembling an inner circle, she's in it.
But she doesn't know about me.
No. At least I don't think she did. She seemed just as surprised as I was.
What happens if the summer court finds out we still exist? Or do they know?
I would imagine that if they knew, you'd be dead. Which is why you were safer when it was a secret. But with too many people knowing, it's just not a secret anymore.
And we're the only ones left?
24 hours ago, I would have said there were none left. Now, apparently, there are anywhere from 3 to 4. I have no idea.
But we're not a threat to the summer court. I mean,
Oh, but you
Look.
are. The Winter Court has been... They were separate. In the same way that for the Alpha, there are 3 groups. Each are separate. Each are equal. But when the Summer Court decided that it should rule over all elves, and they warred against the Winter Court, they made a very public showing of executing every single member of the Winter Court's nobility, up to and including the royal family. Crushed the last remaining hope in the Winter Court's resistance. And they were... It ended the war. You existing gives them hope again. Gives them a cause to fight, gives them a banner to rally behind. I don't know a lot about the courts, but as far as I'm aware, that is not something the Summer Court King would allow. It is easier for him if you are dead.
We're not a threat. I don't know the first thing. Nora,
Your
Dorian.
existence is a threat. The fact that you exist at all, that's the threat. That's enough of a threat for him to take this kind of action.
Couldn't we, like, sign a paper or something declaring that we don't want the throne? I'm already very busy as it is.
I have no claim to the throne of Svartalfheim. None whatsoever. It's literally been taken from me. And when I told Taza what I had learnt about Teral and my mother, her first action was to bend her knee before me and claim me as her king. The Winter Court doesn't care whether or not you want the throne. They care that you exist, that the possibility remains. Their homes, their lives were taken from them. Their hope was taken from them. And that is what ended. If they know that there is even a shred of hope, that could be all the spark they need. At least that's what the king will fear.
Who is next in line for the throne of the Winter Court?
Well, that really depends. But given people's reaction, I'm guessing it's you.
This day just keeps getting better and better.
Babette said brother, not brothers. I don't think Nathaniel is your brother.
At
I'm
least
pretty
not
sure
in a
we've
way.
already gone over this, though. Since he was raised with us, he's definitely our brother.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
In the familial
Yes.
sense, in the heir to a lost throne sense.
I don't understand why Grumgolly would hide me with a family who is hidden. Wouldn't we reveal ourselves eventually?
Well, since we're already having to be hidden, that might be a good idea. But at the same time, since it seems like it's dangerous to be with us, it doesn't seem like a good idea that way. Because it would just put you in more danger if we're ever found. But since we're
What's-
already...
No, you continue.
Since you're already hiding a couple of kids, why not hide a couple more?
That's what I don't understand. Why would you hide so many dangers together? It doesn't make sense. Wayland, why would I be hidden?
I only know very basic information about the summer and winter courts. I know even less about the Goblin Kingdom. They specifically separate themselves, decided they wanted nothing to do with the rest of the outer world or with humans either. They wanted to be independent, wanted to be separate, and well, then everyone else kind of just agreed, so long as they didn't get anyone in anyone's way. The Goblin Kingdom is made up of far more than just goblins. It's anyone who wanted to be separate from the rest, from to be independent. Why Grumgully might want to hide a child, I don't really know.
Do you know if Constance is his only child? Does she have other siblings?
Eric?
The Goblin Kingdom has a crown prince.
Well, if I understand correctly, the Goblin Kingdom already has a crown prince, so at least one, I guess.
So I have a brother.
I imagine so.
How do you find the Goblin Kingdom? Is it like finding the bet? You just want to.
There are ways, mostly easiest way is to find a guide. Essentially there are people that you can ask for permission to enter. And if you get the permission, they take you there. There are probably other ways in, possibly ways to break in, sneak in, but it is quite hidden. Goblins are good at hiding things.
They hid me from me, so I suppose that's evident.
Generally, though, the easiest Goblins are very payment is what they're after, really. Essentially can buy access to. Buy your way in. It's probably the easiest way.
Do you also have to pay like with Babette, or do they just take money?
Goblins are more interested in money than.
Oh, good.
That doesn't sound very independent.
I mean, they can still trade. They just don't want to be part of the politics. They don't want to answer to others. They don't want to be answerable to others.
Is there any way to find out what I am, the not goblin part?
We will find out the answer to that question after our break. So, everybody in chat, thanks for joining us. I'm sorry that Twitch had I got an alert in OBS that said that Twitch ingest servers were experiencing server instabilities. So I apologize for the dropped frame and any weird stuttering audio that took place in the middle there, but hopefully it was not horrible. And we will be back in 5-ish minutes for more GM sits back and watches his players do fun things. We'll see you in a few minutes. And we're back. Drama Team 1. Go, 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 go.
I asked a question. I don't remember what it was. So that. This is like every situation where you forget your line.
Yeah, except there's no script for you to go line.
No, there's nothing. There's no one to help me.
We were talking about how to get to the Goblin Kingdom, and we said that money was
I asked about the Prowler.
right.
How do I find out more? Do I just find the beast and ask?
Sure, they'd be completely happy just to answer any of our questions. I don't
He
know.
attacked us last time we saw him. I don't like that plan.
He tried to take me. He didn't.
His wolves, or the wolves that he was controlling, were not nice to the rest of us. Besides, he doesn't need to take you away to talk to you.
Maybe he doesn't know that. And why do I change when I do?
I mean, to be honest, I'm a little out of my depth.
And why is it that every time we talk about this, Amelia looks like she's a ghost?
When we were at the stone and they wouldn't let you sign the contract because you had the wrong name. I tried to go inside of your head and see if I could find the name. When I was there, I ran into a wolf, not the one that's sometimes you. And there was a pack of wolves chasing me. So I ran, and then I saw the the wolf that's you, not you. And it reached out its arms, and so I ran. I was very afraid. And the wolves were right behind me, and I ran to its arms, and it took me by the throat and looked at me, and then threw me to the wolves. And I could feel them tearing me apart while it watched. That thing inside of you, Constance, I don't think it cares for me very much. And I know you don't care for me very much. And I don't know which one is which. Or which one wants me dead.
So you went inside my head. And you saw something in there that you didn't like. And you decided not to tell me what you saw.
I tried to tell you after the wolves attacked.
After the wolves attacked, you ran and you told me to get away from you. And so I did.
I was afraid.
I don't think that's an excuse. I'm afraid. You don't know what it's like in my head. You came in and you pried and you looked around, and the thing that's in my head that doesn't like you, maybe it just doesn't like you being in my head and being where you shouldn't be. I asked you to stay out. And you did it anyway. I'm not surprised. And I'm not surprised that you looked, and I'm not surprised that it attacked you. I don't know what I am. And I can't guarantee that I'm not going to hurt you, or Nora, or Wayland, or anyone, because I don't know. And that's terrifying.
Stop your stopwatch, Frito, because I need a spirit roll from Amelia, please.
A 3. No, not double ones, just a 3.
There's one more part to that vision. A part that, as she is emotionally railing on you in this moment, that wolf that threw you back to the pack was standing in front of a cage. And inside of that cage was Constance.
And she just remembers that now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you were sort of being torn apart by wolves.
That's not all that I saw.
For audience clarity, this is something I messaged to Katie that night, but Katie is not remembering, so the GM is reminding Katie.
Sorry. I thought perhaps there was a memory or something you had forgotten that would tell us who you were. I thought I was helping. But as I was being torn apart by the wolves, I saw you, Constance. You were behind the beast in a cage. I thought I was helping. And I wish I hadn't tried.
Well, it's done now. I can't stop. Whatever it is. I don't choose. Maybe you should use that last bullet.
I am sorry I shot you.
I was trying to help. You were just lying in the mud.
I didn't see you. saw the thing that had already tried to destroy me once. And then I saw you. With the bullet hole. I don't want to see that again.
Not to interrupt, but did you just say you were trying to help while you were transformed? You were in
Yes.
control. You mentally, but the wolf physically.
She had lovely purplish fur. And I held her paw. She didn't hurt me, 'cause she would never hurt me. And we couldn't get Amelia to move. So Constance tried to pick her up so we could go.
What if we're going about this the wrong way? What if you don't fight the wolf? Tame the wolf?
How would I do that?
I don't know. But if you transformed and you were still you on the inside, well, what's stopping you from doing that again? What's stopping you from finding a way of having control? That it's not something you beat, it is something you command. You put the wolf on a leash. You make it yours.
Like an unruly puppy?
Not how I describe it, but yes.
Well, Constance, you said that you hang out with Wyatt a lot, and he's the son of the hounds master. He might have lots of tips for unruly puppies.
Waylon really trying not to make eye contact with Amelia at that point.
I don't choose any part of this.
You don't choose now. I'm not suggesting this is some sort of solution that will just happen overnight. I'm saying, what if it is pointless to fight against this thing inside you, to try and just hold it off? What if that's just, you just fight until you're tired and then it overwhelms you and then you just repeat that cycle forever? What if instead you work towards mastering it, making it come when you call, that sort of thing? You take control so that you do command it, you do control it. That it's not something that you fight against. It is a tool that you use how you want and when you want. I've been thinking about this as a werewolf. With a werewolf, the inner beast consumes you, takes over. There is nothing left of you. And that's not what's
Stop.
happening.
Please.
This creature is not a werewolf.
No, stop. Please.
You can be the
Stop.
one in control.
No, it hurts. Please stop.
Constance, what hurts?
It's like there's something tearing at my skin, but from the inside.
Nora's gonna go over and put a hand on your forehead. And then take your pulse. And look in your eyes.
She has an
Constance runs out of the room.
extreme- So in literally the time you touch her before she runs out of the room, she has an extreme fever. Her heart rate is beyond where it should be safely. And as she runs from the room, as you try to get a glance of her eyes are those deep pools of gold.
Oh, Waylon. She's burning up. And her eyes, she might be about to change. I wasn't very close to her last time she changed. I'm not sure.
Running to the exit.
Okay. You make your way to the hatch. Top or bottom? Like the rampway or like essentially the roof hatch?
Roof.
Okay. As Constance arrives at the roof, we've largely covered most of the secrets chat, so that's why there's a GM involved at this point. An alarm sounds through the Helios.
Oh, that's not good. We need to find her. Except for Amelia, you stay here. I think it would be safer.
No. Where? No.
You are not allowed to shoot her.
Also, you're on crutches, in case people have forgotten.
Also that. I will get back and heal your foot later. I've been working on it while you guys were having that lovely moment. But I gotta go. Bye. And Nora takes off running.
Waylon gives Amelia a sort of like apologetic shrug and then sort of turns and as right back the door he sort of says like, I should point out that most of what I was just saying is speculation.
If you're not
Just so you know.
If you're not Constance, take your headphones off, please.
Yeah. Fill up that secret bucket.
Feel attacked.
Ugh.
Constance, you are on top of the Helios. The wind is whipping around you in the dim, almost rust-colored air and light of sunrise. It's very cold this high, or at least it should be. And you assume it is based upon the steam that rises from your skin. You find yourself clawing at that old moth-eaten robe. A robe that now feels far too tight. A robe that feels as though it's strangling you. You feel those claws on the inside, tearing at your skin from the inside. You hear the howls and the gnashing, slobbering sound of a hungry canine in your ears, but not in your ears, within your head, within your soul.
Go away. Leave me.
You feel a hand at your throat, squeezing, claws digging into your skin.
Anything there?
Nope. But you can definitely feel it.
Closing eyes.
Okay. You are inside of a garden. Tall, topiary-style walls. One of those hedge mazes. Behind you is a fountain, though you only know that from the sound of the water that trickles and falls into the pool. In front of you is a beast. A massive, glaring, gnashing, black-furred beast. You feel your hands now gripping at a furred arm. An arm as thick around as Amelia's waist. That hand as large as your head, squeezing at your throat, and it gnashes, spittle striking against you. Its fangs inches from your face. Behind it, even as your vision fades, you see a cage. And
Don't do it.
as you speak, it howls. And from the various paths of this massive hedge maze, you hear the padding of feet and echoing howls. And wolves, not beasts like the one that stands before you, but wolves pouring in to the clearing. The beast squeezes once more. you feel your vision go black. And the last thing Constance remembers is a hard thump as your body crashes into that cage. And when you open your eyes, you're not Constance. There is no control. There's only the beast. Your robe lies on the floor of that roof, and as you glance down, your hands and your feet, massive claws extended out, tear into the metal of the hull of the Helios to hold you in place. And you hear a creak behind you as the hatchway opens. Nora, as you ascend that ladder and pull the hatchway open, having sent Wayland one direction, having sent you the other, you climb up and push your way out and peek your head out. There, on top of the roof, is a massive black furred beast. It turns toward you as the creak of the hatchway, and Nora is slightly disturbed to see gaping rents in the hull of the Helios, where the claws dig in to hold the beast in place against the high winds. That beast turns and looks at you, its eyes as red as the corsets that Katie and Chantel wear. And it bares its fangs at you and howls.
Constance? You look different this time. I think I liked your purplish fur better, but, this is nice. Would you like to come in?
Going to slowly move toward Nora and just keep digging claws into the Helios to keep my balance.
Yeah. Don't worry about those holes. I can fix those. That's okay. Just don't fall off.
Question. The hatchway big enough for Constance right now? I howl again. And look at a propeller. And start and leap at one.
Okay. Roll me a fighting roll in wolf form, please.
Double twos.
Okay. I'm going to spend a GM Benny to have you reroll.
I thought that might be the case.
Okay. Nora, you watch as the beast leaps toward that massive propeller blade. And there's a moment of fear because, in theory, that propeller blade should shred that being. And there's a loud clank and then a horrible grinding sound. And you see the beast pushing back against that propeller and then wrenching and tearing the prop from the propeller and hurling it off the ship.
Oh, Constance, you could get hurt. And also, we're in the air, and if you pull all those off, we're going down. I mean, I can fix
Constance
that one.
snarls
Oh,
at
And the ship
Nora.
lurches. And I'm going to pull the other two in because things go on inside of the ship at this point. So, Wayland, as you and Nora left the mess hall, she knew the alarm could be triggered one of two places. Either the hatchway up top or the gangplank down below. And she sent you to the gangplank while she checked the hatchway. As you're making your way down to the hatchway, you find that it is closed. But as you turn to go back, assessing essentially that, that means Constance is probably on the roof. The ship lurches, and you're thrown hard against the side of a catwalk. Amelia, up in the mess hall, sitting on a chair with a broken leg, you're thrown to the floor as the ship lurches hard. And another alarm sounds, and the voice of Ishmael fills the loudspeaker of the Helios. Propeller compromised. We're losing altitude. Captain, we have no power to prop 3. Meanwhile, atop the Helios, your sister, or the beast that was your sister, snarls at you, Nora, and lunges at the next propeller. Roll fighting, please, Chantal. In a repeat of the scene that you've just watched, Nora, that massive beast, black fur, deep red eyes, leaps at the prop. This time the action is different. Rather than finding themselves in the center, they land atop the prop. And they reach down and grab and yank, removing half of it in a single motion. This time, however, rather than hurling it off the ship, they turn and they throw it at the top of the hull. And then, with a glance at you, the beast that you know at one point was your sister leaps from the side of the Helios toward the earth below.
Constance, no! Nora's gonna shut the hatchway, tear down to the engine room,
Yeah, you've literally lost all propulsion on one side, and like you're essentially like crawling along the catwalks as you sort of like hang at an angle. And given that this is, you know, a mechanical vessel and not a spaceship, there's no artificial gravity holding you in place.
It still had that new airship smell in it. Already wrecked it.
Nora adds artificial gravity to her list.
Invent this. Meanwhile, Amelia, you are thrown around like mad inside of the mess hall. You make your way to the engine room where you find, at this point, Wayland dragging himself along a catwalk the same way you do. Ishmael is having an absolute conniption over the loudspeaker as well.
Is there a way? Is it just like there's like a loudspeaker? There's not like a way to communicate with the bridge?
It's definitely just like a one-way intercom.
Is there? Do we know if there's an intercom to the bridge, like in like the engine room, or like somewhere else, or is it easy? Is it quicker just to go to the engine room, or?
I mean, you don't know if there's a two-way intercom. You've only ever heard him talk to you.
Yeah.
That wasn't covered in Helios 101. But given the current state of problem, it's not going to be super fast to get to the bridge.
Yeah.
Frankly, you're lucky that, you know, the guy flying the ship wouldn't have moved anywhere because he's bolted in.
And, you know, isn't human, so he's not experiencing that human level of panic. Okay. Nora and Wayland, what are you guys doing in the engine room?
I mean, I'm so useless here.
At least
I'm looking around, and I'm just like, I don't know what any of this does. I don't know what these things are.
Just picture him like picking up a huge wrench, one of those like 3-foot long ones, and just banging at stuff.
No, Wayland, stop.
He's got the wherewithal not to just hit things, because that's a lesson he learned earlier. At least one of the Marleys has told him that's not an okay reaction.
Wayland, look anywhere for anything that says backup propellers. Maybe they have backup propellers that can pop out, and I would have designed backup propellers on this. Father should have consulted me.
We're a child.
After, you can retrofit things. Look for a sign saying backup propellers, or maybe if we increase power to the propellers that are there, we can at least slow our landing.
I should make this more accurate.
Yeah. All right, so Nora, give me a notice roll. You're probably you don't have any, do you have edges that make you essentially cool under pressure? No? Okay, so you're at a -2. Wayland, give me a notice roll. You're at your 1-eye penalty in addition to your panic penalty.
I don't think the 1-eye penalty, it doesn't kick in when things are close to me.
Okay. It's a big
having
engine
said
room.
that, I do have the all thumbs.
All right. So you're at like a -6.
Cool. I got a -2.
Cool.
7.
All right. So with a 7, thankfully, Wayland sees something. He's like, that. And he goes to pull it. And you're like, not that. And you're like, oh, okay. But you do run over and you pull essentially like the emergency ballast kind of thing. And you yank it and you're able to bring your descent under slight control. You kill the power on, you instruct Wayland to kill the power on the propellers so it doesn't shred essentially your big parachute, and you deploy your big parachute. You guys begin your descent down still rather quickly and you do make a hard impact with the ground. Amelia is once again thrown around because it's comical and it's Amelia. The other two of you have that like, we didn't die kind of hug moment in the engine room. What do you do now?
Good job, Wayland. Also,
Wait, where's Connie?
remember how I said before she had purplish fur when she changes? It was all
Yes.
black this time, and her eyes weren't gold, they were red. She snarled at me. And then she ripped our propellers off. And then she jumped. Could she be okay? Weird wolves, they can fall really far and still be okay, right?
I would like to think that she wouldn't have jumped if that was the case. If that weren't the case.
I'm not sure it was completely her. I'm pretty
No.
sure she wouldn't have snarled at me. Let's go find Amelia. She's probably having a hard time because of her foot. I need to give her this potion.
Oh, gods.
And we need to find Ishmael.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, you make your way up to the mess hall. Your sister is huddled in a corner, fairly bruised up. They've been hit by pots, pans, other assorted sections of kitchenware. But she's alive. Her expression is bemused, like is putting it mildly. Like she's not super with it right now.
Amelia,
What do we
Oh,
know about
good.
concussions?
good thing we lost a couple of propellers, but we're down now, so we're fine. If you see a big black wolf, run the other way. If you see one with
That
purplish fur,
Pulls
you're
Amelia
okay.
out of what she's experiencing.
but black fur's bad.
Is the black-furred wolf the one that chased her?
The black-furred wolf is the one from the vision.
And, here, take this.
Thank you.
You have to drink it all.
It tastes terrible.
I know it's kind of got this sweat sock, but I tried adding more mint to it. I'll figure it out eventually.
The wolf I saw in Constance's head was black.
With crimson eyes.
With crimson eyes.
The one that threw you? Or the one that chased you?
The one that threw me. There were several smaller wolves chasing me. Just wolves.
And the one that threw you is probably best categorized as a beast.
I'm
wolf,
sorry. I'm
for
not
want of a
quite
better term.
remembering. Have I ever seen anything but the black wolf inside of Constance's head?
Just the regular small wolves.
Okay, but it's always been the first encounter and then the second encounter. It's always been the black
The
wolf.
the big black
Gosh, Amelia, you freaking idiot.
arms as big around as Amelia's waist, hands as big as Amelia's head, that kind of thing.
I bennied the first roll and then got an 8.
Okay. I don't remember how many wounds you had, but you recover 2 wounds. And your ankle is not broken, though it is still very tender.
Well, I can't imagine that's pleasant. It's a drink that fixed her ankle. That's... Oof.
Yeah, it was kind of gritty, as well as tasting terrible. But Katie drinks dirt water, so it's fine.
if Waylon wasn't focusing on a bunch of other things, he'd been really impressed.
My
That's
dirt water
amazing.
probably tastes better than that potion.
Maybe.
It's berry
Which apparently
flavored.
tastes like minty, sweaty socks. So...
Oh, you know what? I think they taste the same.
Over the loudspeaker. Malfunction.
Oh.
We need to go to Ishmael. And Nora takes off running.
Yes.
Amelia, you try to run, but your leg's still very tender, so you kind of stumble behind a little bit. Like, you don't fall down, but...
Just re-snaps it.
No. She's going to take her time and be careful.
You arrive, Nora and Wayland, Amelia slightly behind. The glass of the cockpit is shattered. You appear to have collided with the side of a hill. Half of Ishmael is still in the cockpit seat. The other half of Ishmael, the more, top half-ish of Ishmael, is smashed, heavily damaged, crushed underneath a large chunk of debris. Captain,
Ishmael?
malfunction.
You or the ship?
Yes.
Waylon, help me get him out. We have to get the debris off of him.
I don't know what happened. I lost control. I'm sorry I failed you, Captain.
It was not your fault. The propellers got ripped off. There was absolutely nothing you could have done about it. What? How do I can fix you? What do I need to do? Tell me what to do.
I don't know the extent of the damage, Captain.
It looks pretty extensive. Which are the most vital parts that we need to save? Where is your programming and your heart core? And Nora just slings her satchel off her back, starts pulling out tools, and just starts...
Okay.
Waylon, I just start clearing as much stuff as he's able.
starts looking for anything she can see that looks like a heart core and
There is,
vital
as
whatever.
you're pulling apart, there is a glowing red orb It's exposed and it's cracked. It has a bunch of strange tubes that you don't recognize. Wires that seem to be made out of gold. A single very, very unusual blue wire. But you know, the frame, the chassis is not salvageable. His voice begins to stutter. Captain.
Yes, Ishmael?
It has been an honor. And there's kind of this creak, and where he's been collapsed, there's one arm, and he sort of reaches up that metal kind of claw hand, and he places it on. He places it on Nora's face. I didn't know I could feel. And his eyes go blank. And the hand collapses with a clank to the metal. The heart core continues to glow red.
Can we save the core?
It's okay, Waylon. I can fix this. And she starts taking apart. She takes the core and all the little wires that are connected to it that might look important, and anything connected to those that are smaller and also might look important. She carefully disassembles all of it, and she'll wrap it up carefully and stick it in her satchel.
Yep, and you do. Perfectly. It takes you about 15, 20 minutes.
I don't know if those last long on their own.
You know, Nora, that while it will take you some time to build a functional chassis and there's mechanical information you lack, you do know you need to get this into some kind of stabilizing chamber soon. Because even as you worked on it, the light in the core was fading.
When she first got on the ship and she was going everywhere looking at everything excitedly, did she notice anything that would have worked to put it in temporarily?
You notice some stuff you could jury rig in a couple of hours, yeah. You essentially are going to have to pull parts off of the ship, but right now it doesn't fly anyway. So...
Wayland, I need to stick it in a new temporary chassis before it fades. When I asked him about his brother that was driving the carriage, he said it was too late to go back and look for his pieces and fix him because the heart core won't. It would have faded already.
You told me the same.
And I want to go after Constance, but I have no idea where to start looking for her. And if we find her right now, I don't know what to do because she snarled at me. So I know what to do with
Technically killed
this.
Ishmael.
I need to work on this because this I know what to do with right now. And then we will go find her.
Go.
What happened?
I have to go. And she just takes off to go get parts.
Okay.
Amelia, come with me. We'll see if we can what we can see from outside, and I will explain on the way.
So, Sarah, take your headphones off. Amelia and Wayland, you open the exit. Wayland relaying what he knows, which admittedly is not the whole story. And you step outside. As you do, and you begin to look for a constant-sized crater based upon the description, you hear a blood-curdling shriek in the air above you. And you turn, and there, silhouetted against the sunrise, is a massive black wolf creature, beast, with huge black bat wings extended out behind it. And we will see all of you next week. Everyone, thanks for joining us for tonight's Paddington Prowler. I hoped you enjoyed the not a whole ton of GMing until the very end. I've been your host, storyteller, and fellow watcher for most of it, Eric Taylor. And we're going to start with Nora, since she's not shell-shocked as much as the others, despite being somewhat shell-shocked. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good. I do not approve of killing off the NPC, though.
It's not
She's
dead.
going to fix this.
Sometimes NPCs die, Sarah. It happens.
Or Nora has anything to say about it.
Not on Nora's watch.
Sam, how are you?
I'm good. It went almost. Well, I don't want to say exactly as I thought it would, in that obviously the details
end happened.
just nah. But it's more sort of like I made a comment. It's like we're gonna get to the point. We're gonna go through all the secrets that we have so far are going to get revealed, and then by the end, something else will have happened that makes us all go, and then it did. It's not the most difficult of predictions to make, but you know.
It's fair. It's how the game's gone. You can find Sam on Twitter at @the_real_SammyP. He is a voice actor and performer. He has also recently been in A Town Called Prodigal by The Penny Peep Show. All the episodes are currently out, so go check them out. You can also find Sarah at RPGameBeast on Twitter, ignoring that it exists. Speaking of people who don't really pay attention to Twitter, Katie, how are you?
What's Twitter?
And that's it for Katie, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, no. My brain hurts so much. Also, I want everyone to know that Katie is fine and Amelia is not. So
Good. I'm glad. Katie got several Zoom messages from Eric, the GM, being like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because Katie was doing a very good job of Amelia face acting, despite Amelia not saying much. And so I was concerned. You can find Katie here on Saturdays, though not this Saturday because we're off. But she is part of our Saturday cast. Then, over there in the left-hand corner, the not Game Beast, but currently Beast herself. You can find her at wordswithcolor.com, spelled with a U. You can find her at Chantel B. You can find her here in every single show that we do, same as Sarah. And not this week, but other weeks, you can find her on Scraticus's channel playing Cleanup Crew. But this week, they are taking some time off for Blackout Tuesday. But Shawnee, how are you?
Huh?
And that sums it up. So, everybody, I have been your storyteller. This has been a Do Respite production. You can find us back here on Wednesday for Eternium Gate with Chantel and Frito, who's in chat, Sarah, and the one and only Jamie Collette. That'll be at 11 p.m. Eastern. And then just, again, a reminder, you can go to twitch.tv. Sorry, not twitch.tv. You're there. You can go to... you can go
Patreon?
patreon.com/do-respite, where we are a business. Go support us. Thanks. Until next time, I've been your host and GM, Eric Taylor, and on behalf of Chantel, Katie, Sarah, and Sam, good night, good luck, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home, love each other. See you next week, or Wednesday, preferably. Bye, everybody.